Hey friends and family, hey loved ones, hey beloveds. How are you doing today? How are you feeling today? What's shaking today? What's stirring today? What's rising today? What's playing today? What are you playing at being today? What are you playing at being? What are you playing into? And what are we playing through? So I just wanted to share some things through my process and my practice and my play of being me. I wanted to share some things that I love and I appreciate. And I am surrendering and letting go of what I think I know, letting go of what I want to know, letting go of the need to know, and just being open and willing to receive. Yeah, this love and flow. And so I did receive like amazing things, as I am always open to receiving, like all the love that wants to come through me and for me, and choosing joy and enjoying the life that I've been given, the gifts that I've been given, the gifts that are always being given and offered and here to receive, available to receive. Yeah, always, through always, for always love always. And a lot of that, yeah, this has to do with like just things that I love, that I'm drawn to, that are drawn to me, that really help me feel alive and more full, like in my own being. It helps me come alive and sparks that life within me. And so a couple years ago, I did a little practice that I received from a book called Aphrodite's Daughters by Yalaha Bonheim. This is a great book, Women's Sexual Stories and the Journey of the Soul. And she had suggested to write down a top 10 turn on list. So things that turn us on, that connect us with our vitality and that like living energy that we are, that really inspire us and make us come alive. Top life 10 turn-ons. So I did choose that practice, and because I thought it would be good for me to focus on what I really love and to also be mindful and attentive of what I was choosing. And am I choosing the things that I really, really love and that really make me feel alive, or am I choosing something else? And so that really did help me for a little while. So I wrote down briefly like 10 little things, and then later I expanded upon those things. But originally it was just like 10 sweet, short, simple things that I loved, and some of it had to do with reading and writing and the plants and nature and all those things, and singing and music and just creativity and all those things that really do like nourish, support, and sustain me and help me come alive, you know, and put me in touch and in connection with that life force of mine and the divine and the thine. And I put those little reminders up on my mirror so I would see them every day in the bathroom. And a couple months passed, and I noticed, gosh, I haven't done any of those things. I haven't chosen to participate or engage with any of those things that I love, and I wonder why that is, and what else am I choosing here? And so that kind of helped me see in certain ways where I had certain default settings, or I was stuck in certain patterns, and just kept recreating the same cycle of suffering for myself over and over again, choosing things that drained me and dishonored me and didn't really nourish, feed, or support me. And yeah, I got to look into that and see into that a few years ago. It was super helpful for me. But singing and songs and chanting and the word has always been, yeah, something that does make me feel alive. It's a turn on for me. And yeah, this is something that I love and something I appreciate, and the love that I can choose for me. And so, yeah, I want to share some things about chant and the word and song and play and creativity and just expression, creative self-expression, and enjoying like, being, enjoying, yeah, this gift of being the love we are, and of receiving the love we are, and inviting and freeing and sharing and offering, yeah, all that love that we are. And so I had this book, Healing Mantras by Thomas Ashley Farrand. And I super appreciate him as a teacher, and I so appreciate this book. And yeah, I just flipped it open, and it's flipped open to chapter 10, Mantras for Abundance and Prosperity. And yeah, that's one of my favorite things right there. It's prosperity and the love that keeps giving, yeah, and circulating and regenerating. And so one of my favorite ones is Om Shreem Maha Lakshmi Swaha, and I've shared that one before, and I love singing that one. Om Shreem Maha Lakshmi Swaha. And it is all about abundance and Lakshmi. Lakshmi, the deity or the goddess of abundance. She holds abundance in all forms for all beings. She holds the torch aloft for all beings. For abundance in all forms. So for all beings in all forms and abundance in all forms. And that's what we are. So let's remember that. Om Shreem Maha Lakshmi Swaha. So these chants are in Sanskrit, and it's an energetic language. It doesn't have any literal translations, but it does have qualities associated with it. And so, yeah, it's very interesting language, like definite power in it. Yeah, it's a light language. And so I really love learning. I've been learning about chants, really, and practicing with chants since about 2005, but it seems like every 5 years I go deeper into it, and it's and I'm approaching another cycle of another 5 years. So it's been about, yeah, so maybe 15 or 16 years or so. But I have really super appreciated my work and my progress with like just, yeah, being drawn to it because it just feels right for me. And so, yeah, I started actively doing some disciplines in 2016. I would choose like a certain mantra that I felt like, oh, that one has got some good energetic qualities that I would like to draw into my life, or to invite, or to like really cultivate and appreciate and strengthen within me, or to help me break up certain patterns, or to help me bring something forth through me, to help me free something, yeah, that was trapped inside me. And I think one of my first chants that I ever did in 2006, maybe, like consistently, like it was the start of a practice, but I never did get through the 40 days, but but it was a good effort anyways. Like, and I realized later, yeah, why like I had trouble following through to the end with certain things. And this choosing this kind of a practice and a discipline for 40 days really did help me show up and follow through for me in 2016. The first chant that I did in 2006, I think, as a practice, and I think I made it like 20 something days, was about for friendship. And because I had felt like I don't really have any close friendships, or like really, really intimate, friendships or relationships that I felt like were, were very, very open, and could support like expansion, and could support like truthfulness, and support like authenticity, and just being full and being free, and yeah, just being true to me. So like I was really hungry for like true friendship, and so I started I think it was like something like Om Mitraya, Namaha, I can't remember exactly what the chant was, but yeah, it was like for that divine friendship. And that's when I started cultivating like more of a friendship with myself, even though it's been a long journey and a path, like to really, um, really receive myself and see myself as my own friend as I do now. And that I really do appreciate and love myself. And I am that which I seek. So whatever we are seeking is what's seeking we. And so it is kind of fun in those ways when we do like start to uh, go out on our quest and our own heroines or heroes journey. Yeah, the things that we're looking for are the things that have been looking for us, you know. So I think that's so very cool. And yeah, I think one of the first mantras that I did in 2016 for a 40-day discipline, yeah, I don't even remember. I might have to go back to it, to my journals from back then. But I know I did like several in a row, and it just felt really good, and it felt right, and it was supporting me, and it was helping me with all the new relationships, and yeah, all the new in my life that I was opening up to and receptive to, and also helping to dissolve and clear away some of the old traumas and old programs and things, and that really was helpful for me in so many ways. So I have done a variety of different chants over the years, but I am a serious beginner, and I'm still always learning and still always growing, and searching and seeking. But Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Swaha. Yeah, that's a great one, and I have mentioned Lakshmi in the last couple times, and abundance, and yeah, all of that love and prosperity that we can call from and call in and call on, like from within, and call to us, call in for us, and call in through us. So Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Swaha. 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 So what can we say about Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Swaha? This feels good. Om. So Om corresponds to the third eye, to the brow center. And that's where the masculine and the feminine energies meet at the third eye. And there's a form of cosmic intelligence that's associated with Om. And I think everyone's heard of Om, the sound of creation. Yeah, when the two join and rejoin and come in reunion together. Yeah. And Hreem. Hreem is about abundance. And yeah, I might share a little bit more about what Thomas Ashley Farron shares about that in a minute. And then Om Shri Maha. Maha means great. Maha. And Lakshmi, she's the goddess of abundance and prosperity for all. And Swaha means I offer to the highest realms, or I offer to the whole, and I offer with blessing, and all that. So Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Swaha. What does Thomas Ashley Farron say about that? So Om, you may remember, is the seed sound for the 6th chakra, where masculine and feminine energies meet at the center of the brow. Because Om represents a conjunction of will and sound, it is commonly used as a prefix to mantras of all kinds. Of the millions of mantras that have originated in the Far East over the past 5,000 years, more than 95% begin with Om. Hreem is the seed sound for the principle of abundance, which is personified by the goddess Lakshmi in Hindu pantheon. She is often depicted sitting or standing on a lotus flower, beautiful beyond measure, with a stream of coins flowing from her hand. Behind the goddess, elephants are playing with their trunks upraised. Elephants are a traditional symbol of good fortune, and the raised trunks indicate a propensity to retain the good fortune rather than spilling it onto the ground. Maha means great. In this context, it denotes both quantity and quality. When we speak of the quality of abundance here, we are referring to its harmony and dharma, or divine law. Abundance of any other kind is more of a burden than a blessing. Imagine, for example, that someone presents you with a large amount of money. Now you have abundant financial resources, but if the money has been stolen, you could be implicated in the crime. The prefix Maha is intended to prevent this kind of difficulty. Lakshmi, again, is the principle of abundance. The goddess is such a powerful feminine force that continued use of her Sanskrit name generates great creative energy. But in the simplest terms, she is the personification of wealth. She holds aloft the torch of prosperity in all its forms and for all beings. Swaha in this context means I salute. It is also related to the manifestation of energy at the solar plexus chakra. Mantras exist in masculine, feminine, and neutral forms. Here, Swaha provides a feminine ending. This mantra can be used to attain abundance in almost any form. If you're able, commit yourself to a 40-day program. It's best to set aside 30 minutes or so each day to chant quietly by yourself. At other times, say the mantra as often as possible. When you face a problem related to abundance, remember that the general nature of the mantra will immediately help the chakras to begin processing new levels of energy. The Kundalini will start to send out energy related to the principle you are invoking with your mantra. You will be drawing in energy from your spiritual surroundings, but you must also focus your mental efforts to have a clear understanding of that which is desired. As the saying goes, be careful what you ask for, you might just get it. So, the foundation abundance mantra. Because the Vedic and other Eastern traditions routinely describe power in feminine terms, it's not surprising that the foundation mantra for abundance enlists feminine energy. Intention and procedure. Because the definition of abundance is such an individual matter, your intentions in using mantras for abundance are extremely important. Mantra will always cause the chakras to become energized, but how the energy manifests in your mind and body is determined by the powerful directives you form as conscious and subconscious intentions. The authors of the ancient texts understood this very well, and they instruct us to identify our desires clearly in order to achieve the desired result. I often suggest that my students write the results they desire on a piece of paper, fold it carefully, and place it in the location where they will most often say the mantra. You can still say the mantra elsewhere, while driving to work, for example, or doing household chores. But I recommend at least one meditation each day in your chosen spot. During this time, focus your thoughts on your individual definition of abundance before you begin. Gradually, your particular aspiration will kick in automatically whenever you say the mantra, but it will only do so if you've created this relationship between stimulus and response. So it's extremely important to establish exactly what abundance means to you from the very beginning of the mantra discipline. Mantras in certain categories, such as health and healing, seem surprisingly general in translation. This is also true of mantras for abundance, such as those below. Once again, if you're able, it's best to use these in a discipline of concentrated meditation for 10 to 20 minutes each day over a period of 40 days. Hey, that one was awesome. I didn't plan on including that one today, but she just wanted to be included, and I think it is perfect because I have been focusing on self-worth and valuing and appreciating all this love. Yeah, all this love that I get to love. All this love, yeah, that gives so much love so generously, always. And so, yeah, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha. There was, let's see if we want to do that again. So, oh, that's funny. I just opened it again to the same exact page. Yeah. In chapter 9, we touched on the idea that abundance is in the mind of the beholder. That's funny. Our unique needs, values, hopes, and fears define what abundance means to each of us, and these individual traits in turn are defined by the culture in which we live. So, Abundance is in the mind of the beholder. Our unique needs, values, hopes, and fears define what abundance means to each of us, and these individual traits, in turn, are defined by the culture in which we live. The use of healing mantras originated in agrarian societies, where abundance sometimes meant simply having something to eat. While most of us live in relative comfort on the material level, we do have spiritual needs that must be fulfilled. For a child growing up in a home ridden with conflict and abuse, peace and harmony represent genuine abundance. An elderly person, isolated in a rapidly changing world, finds abundance in the companionship of someone who shares the same memories. For the physically disabled, friendship based upon who you are rather than what you can do constitutes yet another form of abundance. So there are all so many different forms of abundance, so many forms of love, which is freaking amazing because, yeah, we're all so individual and unique in the ways that love informs us, and the way that we're informed by love. Yeah, which is very cool, very true, and very cool. So this next page that I flipped open to, any mantra will do. This is page 58. Strictly speaking, you can perform a spiritual discipline with any mantra. It can be one single mantra that you can perform for one complete mala every day for 40 days. This qualifies as a spiritual discipline in the classical sense, but as with anything else in life, the more effort and concentration you apply, the more dramatic may be the results you derive. This is why nearly all disciplines are performed twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening. For those who have decided that they want a more intense discipline, the number of repetitions per sitting rises. 2 malas twice per day, 5 malas twice per day, 10 malas twice per day. Determine for yourself just how much time you will reasonably have each day and give yourself some room. Make the room and make the space. So moving the levers and spinning the dials. Once you have started on a spiritual discipline, there will be consequences from your effort. Some of the consequences can be anticipated. Tensions may begin to ease, or they may temporarily increase. This too is the result of clearing out negative energy. It is not unusual for seemingly supernatural things to be heard or seen during the mantra practice. Please keep in mind that you have placed yourself in a situation where spiritual forces are at work. Sometimes the things experienced are relevant, sometimes they are random and irrelevant. The body is doing 2 things. First, it is bringing energy in from the spiritual near surround, as well as processing kundalini energy through the chakras. Second, that new energy coming in is causing accumulated junk to be released and passed out from your energy world. As the junky energy patterns are releasing, they occasionally will cause thoughts or emotions to arise. As negative energy patterns pass from your body and your mind, you may experience them momentarily as they depart. Just know that anything that is truly important to you will be recalled when the meditation is complete. During your practice, honor what you see or hear, but keep going. You may see a flame, a patch of blue, or a 5-pointed or 6-pointed star. Usually you will become aware of these images at the center of your brow. Other mystical symbols may appear as well. I once saw a complex design very clearly. I did not know what it was until I saw the same design, the Sanskrit symbol for one of the chakras, on a book cover. You may find that there is a sudden obstacle to your practice. Probably at least once during your discipline, something will arise that will make it difficult to complete your discipline. Some event, problem, or circumstance will seem to be cause for you to miss a day or to stop altogether. If at all possible, press on and complete the discipline. Try not to miss a day. Many spiritual teachers from the East call these kinds of things tests. Perhaps they are, but I prefer to look at them as the result of a powerful force that you have brought into play within yourself. There are parts of us that do not want to change. No. There are parts of us that do not want to change, that actively resist change. These parts of ourselves can exert their influence in powerful ways, particularly when a countervailing force is applied to their habituated activity. The internal subconscious conflict created by a sincere and powerful spiritual discipline can be surprisingly sharp. If this seems foreign, then think of the person who has decided to quit smoking or to lose weight. Such people will tell you that they had to battle powerful inner forces that resisted any attempt at change. When we practice mantra, we are changing the nature of certain internal and usually crystallized energy clusters. They have become a part of our subconscious mind. They will invariably seek to assert themselves in some way to ensure their continued existence as they are. Continued practice of your mantra will mean that they must change in some way. Thus, some form of internal conflict arises. Please know that these disciplines have been tested for thousands and thousands of years. It is within your ability. Press on with your discipline, even if circumstances seem to militate against it. If it gets too hot, then by all means stop and try again at a later time. But it is best to keep doing your mantra. Do it every day without missing a day if you can. Overall, things will improve, and sometimes quite dramatically, after you've completed the 40 days. The specific condition that inspired you to undertake the discipline will be positively affected. So, yay, that was awesome. And just opened up to this one. Om Aim Saraswati Swaha. Or Om Aim Saraswati Swaha. Om and salutations to the feminine Saraswati principle. In any creative endeavor, this mantra invokes energy for making the project fruitful and successful. And that's actually one that I wrote down yesterday because, I was feeling led to work with Saraswati. And Saraswati mantras for knowledge and creative achievement. Shown holding a stringed instrument in one hand and a mala in the other with a book at her feet, Saraswati is a feminine power that activates and sustains artistic, academic, and spiritual endeavors. Eastern artists and musicians practice Saraswati japa, recitation of mantra. Mothers chant Saraswati japa on behalf of their children to help them do well in school. Spiritual teachers chant Saraswati japa to obtain the capacity to hold the highest wisdom. Teachers, secular and spiritual, chant Saraswati japa to ensure that the words coming out of their mouths contain the truth and the correct principles desired. They want to be persuasive to their hearers. All this is the province of Saraswati. Saraswati is one of the Hindu feminine trinity of Lakshmi, Durga, and Saraswati. But her power is least talked about in the West. We hear much about Lakshmi's gifts of abundance and Durga's provisions of protection, but much less about Saraswati. Why should this be? It may be that most knowledgeable spiritual teachers from the Far East want to keep true spiritual knowledge secret, and Saraswati is the path to that knowledge. In the earliest Vedic writings, Saraswati is referred to Vak, the goddess of speech in the primordial sense. That is the source of all speech, both divine and mundane. Oh, wow. She represents the sacrificial word, the primal cause, and the mystical name referred to by the Kabbalists. The power mistress and constructor of mantra, the goddess of hidden wisdom. There is an old and ongoing divine disputation to determine which is superior, mind or speech. The final answer in this discussion is that ultimately mind is superior, but only after the realm of creation has been left behind. The catch is that the realm of creation includes all of the subtle realms wherein masters and all the celestials and all the spheres may dwell. Mind assumes preeminence only when we withdraw our consciousness from the Akashic realm accessible through the Vishuddha chakra at the throat center and travel to the place where duality ends. The significance of Saraswati for today's practitioner of mantra can be summed up in a few points. The Saraswati energy, according to ancient scriptures, governs all spiritual pursuits, gives mantras their power. Spiritual teachers and gurus transmit the power of mantra through the Saraswati energy. So it gives mantras their power. Spiritual teachers and gurus transmit the power of mantra through the Saraswati energy. Rules followers of the path of intellectual understanding and mind, governs the transmission of the powerful Shakti or energy of transformation as recorded by many famous teachers such as Yogananda and Ramakrishna, is adopted by many Himalayan adepts and swamis as part of their spiritual name. Mantras for success in education, music, and artistic endeavors. So Om Aim Saraswati Swaha. And then there's another one, mantra for seeing the self within and the universe as one. And this one, I've done and I love this one. Narayanaya is the inner eternal flame located in the Hrit Padma, or the sacred heart, an 8-petaled secret chakra 2 finger widths below the heart center. It manifests according to one's devotion. The single attribute accounts for wonderful and fulfilling experiences for genuine seekers on the one hand, and tremendous confusion on the other. Yeah, in the Narayanaya Suktam, it is said that the Narayanaya is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. It is the light dwelling in the sacred heart that conforms to the devotion of each person. Thus, when Narayanaya manifests, it is as though it is as the person's chosen ideal. This causes confusion because different people have different chosen ideals. The experience of a divine vision of the beloved is so powerful that the experiencer believes the experience is absolute instead of relative. One person may see Krishna and another Jesus. The confusion arises because not every divine experience of these beings is authentic in the sense of a real visitation. Sometimes it is the sacred heart manifesting due to the intense devotion of the person. Om Namo Narayanaya takes the sayer to sublime spiritual realms where spiritual questions are answered and great truths are revealed. Spiritual encounters with the divine beloved can be positively life-transforming. Actual sages from antiquity who are dwelling in the subtle realms may appear and instruct. Desires may suddenly be fulfilled. This mantra is both wonderful and mysterious. In India, there is a universal truth ceremony called Satya-Narayanaya Puja. People from many castes and creeds practice this ceremony. It cuts across and through sectarian differences and preferences. Hence, it is regarded as universal. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om is the name of Narayanaya, the flame of truth. And I just love this one. I just loved it as soon as I found it a couple years ago. And it opened up so much for me. And it's very cool that it comes around today too, because I do remember in this singing this song and doing a 40-day discipline, doing a 40-day chant. It was in the springtime, and I believe it was 2019. And yeah, there were so many good things opening up for me at that time. And the song that just came through was just so beautiful, and it felt so good, and it would make me cry tears of joy. And I also would see all of these prisms of light, these rainbow prisms of light everywhere. It's like that rainbow body and everything. And yeah, it's just so soothing and beautiful. It's indescribable, like the feelings. Yeah, that this mantra blessed me with and has blessed me with. So and I have shared this one before, and I sang it too, but I'll sing a little song that came through for me in my practice. And yeah, it's beautiful. That feels really good. So Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 The inner flame of truth. Yeah, truthfulness. So yeah, that just brings me back to something I was talking about in my previous video. with like social anxiety and nervousness and tension and yeah, just that fear of what others might think and like letting myself be and letting myself express like truly like who I am, who I be, like who I am for me and we, all this love I get to be. And just like allowing that and letting go of what I think it has to be or who I think I need to be and just letting me be. So that's what I've been working on. So, yeah, thank you for receiving me as I am in all that I am, through all that I am. And yeah, that is like amazing, really, like all of that, like the universal, like how it unifies. And yeah, but how also like it can be in the eye of the beholder as well, like our chosen ideals and things. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. So healing with Rama mantras, I just flipped open too. I love it because that's just perfect and true. So yeah, I have been working with the Rama ones, and I have not done a 40-day discipline or any kind of a specific discipline with this mantra because it just came through like just maybe a month or two ago, and I've just been playing with it a little bit here and there as I remember, and yeah, as I'm reminded to with the Hraum, Rama, 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 Rama. And so I have been talking about that one the last couple times, and I'm glad, yeah, this one just came up. Healing with Rama mantras. In the Old and New Testaments of the Bible, we find magnificent spiritual figures with great gifts that may be offered to deserving ones. We also find spiritual authority in the form of speaking a thing and making it so. Jesus said, "Heaven and earth may pass away, but my words shall not pass away." Another spiritual figure who lived thousands of years ago and who also possessed and spoke with divine authority was the avatar Rama of India. The healing potencies of some Rama mantras are among the most powerful I've ever encountered. The following story about Rama tells us much with regard to healing ourselves. The spiritual power of Rama. And I think I did, share this last month. So Rama was heir to the royal throne in the kingdom where he grew up. But through a series of incidents arising from court intrigue, he was forced to spend 12 years in exile in the forest. His exile was part of a divine design. In those years, he was able to bless many people who might not otherwise have met him. While traveling with Lakshmana, his brother, he came upon a slab of rock and purposefully trod upon it. The rock immediately assumed the form of a woman who bowed down before him. The woman thanked him, and he blessed her and moved on. 100 years earlier, she had been cursed by a sage in a moment of anger. So powerful were his words that she remained in a rock-like state until Rama, with his divine authority, arrived. The news of Rama's deed spread quickly, as such matters do, and 2 days later Rama arrived at a broad river that could be crossed only by ferry. The local ferry was a small rowboat operated by a man named Guha. In those days, it was considered a great blessing to touch the feet of a holy person. The reason for this is that there are very large chakras in the feet. In most of us, these chakras remain closed because the current that would flow from them is too strong for us until we have evolved to a certain spiritual level. In the New Testament, we find Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. Even when they object, Jesus tells them he must do this for them. "What I do now you do not understand, but you will later when I send the Holy Spirit." Jesus is providing one of the last steps of spiritual initiation for his disciples. He is opening the chakras in their feet. After baptism with the Holy Spirit, their feet chakras will blaze with a powerful spiritual energy. At that point, great spiritual energy pours forth from the activated chakras in the feet. The tradition of honoring the feet of the spiritually advanced has continued in the Far East for thousands of years. Even today, traditional Hindus and Buddhists will bow down to touch the feet of the ones they revere, in some cases receiving a jolt of an electrical type of energy. Now Guha had heard of the great event in which Rama's treading upon the rock had caused a woman to materialize. He had been filled with joy, but also troubled because he knew Rama's path would take him across the river for which Guha himself was the only boatman. Guha waited in seeming quiet as Rama approached his boat. Inside, Guha's thoughts were racing. What might happen to his boat if Rama came aboard? What might the boat turn into, a woman? Or some object other than a boat? As he considered several possibilities, he arrived at the best solution he could come up with. Rama and Lakshmana greeted Guha pleasantly and asked to be taken across to the other side. Guha replied, "O Rama, I have heard that the dust from your feet turned a rock into a woman. I have no other means of subsistence for my family than this small boat. If you would ride with me, please allow me to wash your feet so that the dust will not turn my boat into something else or someone else." Rama was very pleased to hear the artful yet devoted words of Guha. He consented to have his feet washed by Guha, who became bathed in the tremendous spiritual energy springing from them endlessly, peacefully, and powerfully. With tears of devotion streaming down his cheeks, Guha applied water and gentle soap to the glowing feet. When he had finished, Rama and Lakshmana entered into the boat, and Guha ferried them to the opposite shore. Then Rama asked Guha what his charges were. Guha replied, "By your grace, I have taken you across a river. You kindly take me across the ocean of this samsara. Samsara is the ocean of rebirth." Guha wanted to be liberated from the necessity of being reborn again and again until he achieved liberation from the continuing cycle of rebirth. Rama, very much pleased at the words of Guha, replied, "Your devotion is such I have rarely seen. It shall be as you request. Henceforth you will be reborn only by your own choice. Also, because of your devotion, ask a favor and I will grant it." Guha thought for a moment and said, "It is my desire that the very name of Rama be superior to all other mantras in the removal of the sins one may have accumulated." Rama smiled and replied, "So be it," and departed from the river. From this story has developed a stockpile of Rama mantras that work very powerfully in digging up and neutralizing negative karma. A simple and powerful healing Rama mantra, Om Ram Ramaya Namaha. Om Ram Ramaya Namaha. Om Ram Ramaya Namaha. So Ram has a twofold meaning. This is what I got to share the other day. And it goes along, so nicely. With what I'm working with and working through. So I have a few things written down in my journal here. About Hraum. And I did share my last video yesterday all about this. So Rama has a twofold meaning and application in Sanskrit. It is the seed sound for the Manipura or solar plexus chakra. Tremendous healing energy lies dormant at this chakra. Mantra can help you get at that energy. This mantra begins to awaken and activate the entire chakra. It specifically prepares the chakra to be able to handle the inflow of Kundalini energy that gives the chakra its power. The second application involves dividing Rama into the syllables Ra and Ma. Ra is associated with the solar current that runs down the right side of our bodies, and Ma is associated with the lunar current that runs down the left side of our bodies. And these two currents crisscross and meet at the chakras. By repeating Rama, 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 you begin balancing the two currents and their activity so that they can work with the higher states of energy that will eventually come up the spine. This simple mantra, Rama, qualifies as a healing mantra in its own right. So Rama. And there are these Biha mantras that are seed sounds. And I wrote down a couple of those the other day, and one of them is Hraum. So that is the seed sound for Manipura. Ruling element is fire and the quality is form. Meditate on Hraum and see a friendly fire that is part of you. When this energy becomes balanced, stomach ailments and digestive problems disappear. So Hraum. Rama, Rama, Rama. And then the next seed sound that I had written down was Vam. And that is for the Swadhisthana chakra, which is the sacral chakra, located at the genital center. It is a watery element and its quality is taste. While saying the Vam Biha, visualize a crescent moon over water. Patience will begin to manifest as well as greater control of appetite and other senses. So Hraum and Vam. And then Hum, I wrote down, seed sound for the Vishuddha chakra located at the throat center. The element is ether, the quality is sound. When you meditate on Hum, illnesses of the throat are healed and languages become easy to learn. And then the last one I wrote down was Om, seed sound for the Anya chakra, located at the third eye center, the brow. Masculine and feminine energies meet at the third eye center. This seed sound contains the principle of unity. There is a quality of cosmic intelligence associated with this seed. Through meditation on Om, worry is extinguished and the mind becomes serene. So there's Ram, Vam, Hum, and Om. And also, the one for the heart is Yam. And the one for the root, can't remember right now. But so, basic approaches. Now that you have prepared a simple foundation for your discipline, you can choose between one or two basic approaches. Repetition of the mantra as often as possible over a specific amount of time. This approach means that you will remember to say the mantra as many times as possible throughout each day. While doing household chores, you will say the mantra. In the shower or on a walk while you're driving your car, you will say the mantra. Of course, be sure that you remain alert if you do mantra while driving. If you find that practice of mantra while driving makes you space out, then discontinue it at once. If you want to try this approach but are also curious about how many times you repeat a mantra during the course of a discipline, here is an easy way to keep track. Sit down with a watch, check the time, and repeat the mantra for 5 minutes exactly while counting how many you do. You can use your fingers or beads or whatever else you may prefer. Then multiply the result by 12. You now have a figure for how many times you say the mantra in 1 hour. During the day, keep track of how many hours you say the mantra. It works like this: 30 minutes while driving my car, 15 minutes while doing the dishes and clearing the sink, 10 minutes while taking a shower or washing up, and so on. Keep a small notebook in which you record your daily amount of time in mantra repetition. At the end of the number of days you have allotted for the practice, add up the number of hours and multiply by the number of mantras you calculated as your rate per hour. You now have the number of mantra repetitions for the entire period. The minimum number of days for this kind of discipline is 21. So there's a 40-day discipline. A discipline of 40 days is the time given for practicing mantra in the Eastern texts. As mentioned earlier, sages taught this process centuries even before Noah walked the earth. So there's a place. In addition to saying your mantra as often as possible, you should set a specific place where you will practice your spiritual discipline twice every day. Time of day: set your practice at the same time every day. It is recommended that you perform your practice in the morning upon rising and in the evening before bed. Traditionally, spiritual disciplines are performed at the meeting of the day and the night, or sandhya. Sandhya in Sanskrit. This is a period lasting from 2 hours before dawn until dawn, and 2 hours before sunset until sunset. At this time, the Eastern scriptures teach there is great spiritual energy streaming across the earth. While any time is appropriate for practicing mantras, the periods just before dawn and dusk are reported to be especially good. Completing the practice. If you are in the midst of your discipline and the telephone rings, do not answer it. Better yet, before you begin, put your phone on silent so you can complete your daily disciplines without interruption. So prayer beads and malas are a rosary. So I've had like a couple of different malas, and I think 2 of them, I may have given one away and then one of them broke actually. I think, and so I actually bought a new set of beads for myself like a couple years ago, and I actually chose moonstone beads because that felt right for me. And I also wanted to find my own voice, because it felt so hard for me to know what my own voice really was. I didn't know my own voice because there were so many other voices drowning out my voice, and I'd hidden my voice so well that I didn't know what my voice was when I was with other people. I tend to absorb a lot of things, and I'm very sensitive and empathic, and I would absorb the energy of anyone I was with, and I'd start to mirror or mimic them. So I really did need some help in certain ways, holding space for myself, so that I could have a safe container to express myself. And those moonstone beads really did help me find my own rhythm in certain ways. So yeah, it's been a while since I have practiced and played with my mala beads. And so, yeah, maybe it's an invitation for me to receive that. Yeah. But the prayer and the mala beads, I've had some beads that were made out of tulsi wood as well, like that were given to me there as a gift. And I think I actually did end up giving those to one of my sisters. So, yeah. And also had like just some colored beads. I think they were even just plastic beads that I had gotten that were rainbows, and I think those ones broke before I got the moonstone beads. If you wish, you can select a rosary or mala for your practice. If you decide to do so, put it in a safe place and use it only for this particular practice until you have completed the discipline. Alternatively, some people like to wear the rosary when they are not saying the mantra. This is also a good practice. The rosary is an ancient spiritual tool. Throughout the Far East, rosaries are called malas and consist of 108 beads. For spiritual disciplines, rosaries are used the same way regardless of the religious tradition, primarily to count the number of repetitions of the mantra or prayer. While 108 beads has been used in Vedic malas for thousands of years before the birth of Jesus, the Catholic Church adopted 54 beads, one half mala plus a pendant consisting of 5 beads. While this 5-decade version is the most familiar, the full rosary consists of 15 decades of beads plus the pendant. One might say, for example, that one has performed 20 rosaries or 10 malas of a specific prayer or mantra. As any practicing Roman Catholic can tell you, saying the rosary is a powerful experience. One bead at the end of the mala is called the maru. It contains the accumulated power of all the mantra performed. On the Catholic rosary, the pendant corresponds to the maru. When using a rosary of either Western or Eastern variety, one should not cross over the end bead. It stores power. The Sanskrit word maru means mountain. Spiritually, the maru becomes a mountain of stored spiritual energy. During your repetition of a mantra, the mala is finished when the maru is reached. To continue chanting the mantra, you start the count backward from the maru. Thus, in long sessions of mantra, the counting goes round the mala to the maru, then back again, then forward round the mala again, then back the other way to the beginning. Most malas still contain 108 beads today. The number 108 is used because Vedic teachings state that there are 108 principal astral channels leading from the heart and the subtle body out to the rest of the subtle body. These channels can be likened to astral nerve tubes or blood veins. Saying a mantra 108 times sends energy into each of the channels. There are malas made of several types of material in general use. Yes, there are. And yeah, so when I would choose my spiritual practices and things, I kind of, at that time, I was a little bit resistant to like rigid structure and dogma, and so it made me not want to do certain things. So I kind of like made cooperated with myself and said, okay, I'm willing to like practice this mantra like twice a day, but I'm not gonna make it so it's like so super rigid where I have to like be right there at 7 o'clock like in the morning and 7 o'clock at night or whatever. But I did just commit to myself, to do it twice a day, and usually in the mornings and in the evenings. But sometimes like if my schedule was a little interesting, I just got to like work with it and play with it and just do it my way. And so however it works for you, whatever feels right for you, and also like just playing with it, knowing that it's just something to play with and to practice and to enjoy and to relax into it and just to enjoy it and to play with it. And that's what helped me, because I felt like if I was too serious with it, or if I came with like an expectation to be to kind of hold like a certain piety, or like just feel like I was pious enough or holy or worthy enough, like it wasn't going to work for me. And so it was just kind of getting comfortable, like knowing that it was for me, and it just got to be whatever it was. And I just, it was just something to play with and to practice. And it didn't have to do it right or do it in one certain way. So that's what really helped me wake up and play with it and receive like all that potency that it had for me. And then also follow through with, seeing it through. And I did notice some beautiful, beautiful results. Oh my gosh, like, and some of the things, it was interesting, like, I think it was like 2 years ago, I chose to do an Om Shanti Om practice for inner peace, for dynamic peace. Um, that peace that radiates from within and outward. Yeah. And it was kind of funny because at that time it was the summertime, and we were in the middle of eclipse season, and my anger, like there was feelings of anger that I hadn't ever felt before, like welling up and coming up. It was a preview for 2020, really, from what was to come. But it was just like starting to come, certain things starting to come into my awareness, and certain stories and certain archetypes that I was becoming aware of. And yeah, these little mental streams that I started to observe and things during this Om Shanti Om practice that I did. And at that time, um, my stepson was living with us, and there were some like conflicts that were coming up in certain ways between myself and my husband and my stepson, and between all three of us at one point, like where the chaos just seemed to come out of nowhere, or the drama and everything, and it did feel a little intense for a little while. And so it was like kind of like that old energy pattern coming up to defend itself, or to try and preserve its existence in certain ways, just like ego preservation, does, yeah, happen in certain ways when we're making efforts to make changes. Like, yeah, it can be an interesting thing, dynamic. But yeah, just kind of like knowing that everything was okay, and being willing to watch and observe and to let it be what it was and everything. But yeah, it was a little bit intense, especially like uh, choosing this mantra for like this peace. And it was just, sometimes it felt like anything other than peace, like in the house, in the home. But like it was an invitation for me to find it within myself, and invite it like to be. And knowing like there was so much that came through for me during that time as well, like that it was a super super blessing. And it was kind of funny, before I even ended the discipline, my stepson had moved out. He'd moved out of the house because I wasn't going to play, and I wasn't going to play into the drama with him. And I just kind of withdrew from that, and he just kind of went and did his own thing and went his own way. And so it's kind of interesting anyways. But yeah, those kinds of things can come up, and can be pretty uncomfortable. But it just means that an old energy pattern is being broken up, and um, it's been going in the same way for quite a long time. So he's, of course, the momentum wants to keep going in that direction. And so, yeah, we might feel some of that tension. And it might come up in certain relationships or in certain places, like in our lives, to show us. Yeah. And it is like kind of awesome to have like those little tests and those pop quizzes come up and help us practice what we're learning, and practice and applying what we're learning and what we're growing within us. So it is like the trickster at play sometimes. And so just gotta pay attention and laugh at ourselves as much as we can. And also, I remember in 2016 what I got to choose to do. There were certain like soul collage stories, or little soul collage cards that I had made that like I felt went perfectly with the mantra that I had chosen. And so I would get out like a visual aid. And this is just an example, just because I have this here with me. This is Isis and Horus and the Kundalini, the pillars of light, and the solar and the lunar current. Yeah, cool. I didn't plan it that way. But yeah, it's just an example. Like, say I would have like one of my soul collage cards, and would just like sit in front of that in like a candle, and just have my mala beads. Or I would, during certain practices, I would sit and look out my bathroom window because there's an amazing, beautiful pond out there, and I would just chant and sing to the water as my witness, the water as my witness, and all of that, and commune with nature right outside, like just as I was singing and chanting, and those were pretty magical practices too. And, yeah, sometimes maybe a little bit distracting, but not really, like in certain ways, but it is like, it's helpful, yeah, to have that concentration in that quiet place. But yeah, whatever feels right. It's just like, and practice and play and see, and try a variety of things and see, yeah, what works and what might work better. So the personal images, or religious and personal images. Some people like to put a picture or a statue of a saint or some other religious picture that is dear to them next to their written mantra or the place where they meditate. When doing healing work for someone else, some practitioners like to place a picture of the person for whom they are working, in the meditation area. And then one more recommendation as a spiritual diary. I highly recommend keeping a spiritual diary. You may see or hear things in your meditations to which you may want to refer later, even years later. I have kept a spiritual diary at various times, and I wish I had kept one all the time. We forget even things that seem indelible at the moment. I have occasionally gone back over my diaries from years long past and seen and recalled things written there that I had long since forgotten. So, yeah, it's just all about how to use your mantra from chapter 3 of Healing Mantras, Thomas Ashley Farrand. And there were, like, yeah, some amazing things that I got yesterday. What I've been seeing into is insecurity and self-doubt, and which was really cool. So on the other day, when I was looking at the Rama mantras, I actually flipped it open and I found on page 160 a mantra for confidence and inner strength, and then mantras for empowerment. Yeah, so I'll share those two, and then I have one last little thing about love. May the energy of love encompass you completely. If we are healed in all ways, we inevitably arrive at a state of love. And yeah, that's like the fourth stage of transformation, finding love in the underworld. That's where I am right now. Yeah. So 160. Oh, changing the inner landscape. I actually did want to share some of this. This is something I actually wrote down in my journal the other day. So it's changing the inner landscape, and that's like another reason, like, that I chose these practices. And it just felt right for me. It was just something that I was called to do. It was a call of my soul, and I answered that call. And I'm so glad that I did. Because it is a gift that keeps giving. And I love and appreciate it so much. And just all that it gives, all that it is. Yeah. So changing the inner landscape. The work we do with mantra is governed by agami karma. Using a mantra is an action in the present that will affect our future karma. When we practice mantra, our inner conditions change so that when the vibrations reach us, the effects are different from what they would have been if we had not changed our inner landscape. Additionally, the work that takes place with mantra now becomes part of our agami karma in a positive sense. Our previous free will actions have now come to our aid, and since we are affecting our present good for the better, we are also working with kriyamana karma. Chanting mantras then works directly with each type of karma and helps us overcome unfavorable conditions we may have inadvertently or ignorantly created in this or some other life. How exactly can this take place? So, karma, yeah. Chanting mantras then works directly with each type of karma and helps us overcome unfavorable conditions we may have inadvertently or ignorantly created in this or some other life. And so karma too, like, that's just pattern, that's cause and effect in certain ways. Just like certain changing different patterns. Changing, the direction of the energy. As we work with the sound vibrations of mantra, those vibrations change our inner physical and etheric condition. When a particular mantra has been used over a period of time, the physical body, the chakras, and all the elements of the subtle body become tuned in a slightly different manner. Karma can be likened to seeds that have been stored and eventually planted. When the right conditions are at last present, the seeds of karma sprout. The purpose of karma reduction or elimination, then, is to destroy the seeds. By diligent practice of Sanskrit mantra, we burn the seeds of bad karma created by past deeds and past states of mind. So consider, for example, a mantra for eliminating anger. The elimination of anger through mantra involves changing the vibration of where certain patterns are stored in the physical and subtle bodies. Anger is stored in specific organs and sections of the body. While the exact location may vary from individual to individual, the storage place in each of us is quite specific. When some outer condition has an effect upon the place or places where patterns of anger energy are stored, we become angry. So that kind of reminds me of the samskaras, like those packets of unfinished energy, those patterns of unfinished energy, how they can become activated. Yeah. So when some outer condition has an effect upon the place, so that, yeah, when some kind of outer condition has an effect on us and it causes like that inner disturbance, and then that samskara is activated, then yeah, that emotion can come up to the surface again. So that's kind of like what it reminds me of. When some outer condition has an effect upon the place or places where patterns of anger energy are stored, we become angry. So something can trigger us, something that's not even like really that big of a deal, because it activates like that stored energy. Yeah, that's been stuck. Yeah, which is kind of funny. Like sometimes, yeah, when we may overreact to like a simple thing, but yeah, it's because it triggers something that's been like, yeah, stored or suppressed within us. Yeah, that wants to be actually expressed and released. Or it just needs, yeah, some kind of awareness brought to it, some kind of consciousness. So the planets can be thought of as triggers as well that activate certain inner tendencies. When the planets pass through certain astrological signs or alignments that resonate with our astrological DNA as represented by our natal chart, the stored patterns also begin to resonate. Thus, we may become angry, though an event that normally might not produce that effect. So we may become angry through an event that normally might not produce that effect. The personality goes along with the inner activation of the patterns, and we react to some incident with anger. Although it is true that we tend to be made angry by the same kinds of stimuli, it is also true that planetary movement can cause new patterns to appear. So it is interesting, as above, so below, like looking at those patterns. And I've benefited a lot by looking into my astrology chart more in depth in the last year or so. And yeah, noticing certain things, and also like giving myself a break as well, like during certain times, like I just know I don't need to overwhelm myself with certain things, because not all of it's mine, and I don't have to fix all of it and all those things, you know. So just asking for help and just being willing to receive the grace that's here and be open to anything that can help me learn and grow and be more true to me, and support and honor my integrity. So the use of mantras with the conscious intention of eliminating anger will begin a process whereby those patterns break down and the stored energy becomes transmuted and available for other purposes. In psychology, there is a saying, find your anger and there you will find great energy. By redirecting hostility, you can become more capable and productive. The ancient spiritual teachings completely agree with this modern idea. Astrological activity can also produce positive effects. The unexpected offer of a great job, meeting the person of our dreams, and winning the lottery are all examples of positive karma at work. The idea of balance then enters the picture. We want to optimize positive karma, minimize negative karma, and have the understanding to tell the difference between the two. In undertaking the use of mantra to achieve the proper karmic balance, it is also useful to pray for wisdom. Yay. Hear, hear. And so a Mantras for self-empowerment. This is from chapter 11. And this is, the last little thing that I'll share from this book. And I'll close out with this little piece on love. And mantras for self-empowerment. High school geometry courses teach that from even a small segment of a circle you can infer the circumference, diameter, area, and all other vital information pertaining to the figure. Just a few centimeters of perfectly curved line provides all the information necessary to accurately arrive at characteristics of the circle it indicates. Since 1973, I have experimented with mantras for a variety of conditions and circumstances. The experience gained over those years represents a few centimeters of perfectly curved line. I know that mantras work and work powerfully. This chapter provides mantras and you can use to gain power for the pursuit of your spiritual, creative, educational, and professional goals. Mantra for confidence and inner strength. From time to time, I am approached by people, particularly women, who profess a lack of self-confidence. In such cases, I always recommend the following mantra. In fact, I wish I could give this mantra to every woman who has doubts about her own abilities or her own power. Associated with the feminine principle, this mantra produces an extremely powerful effect, giving a sense of one's power and the wisdom to use that power wisely. And this is Om Aim Hreem Kleem Chah-Moon-Dah-Yei Vichei Namaha. Vichei. Om Aim Hreem Kleem Chah-Moon-Dah-Yei Vichei Namaha. Om and salutations to she who is radiant with power and wisdom. Om is the seed of unity of feminine and masculine energies at the brow center. Aim is the seed sound for Saraswati, who presides over the sound, the arts, and science, both spiritual and material. This energy is also associated with dispelling certain types of negative energy. Hreem, as before, is a seed sound for dissolving the appearance of reality. Kleem, as before, is a seed sound for attraction. And Chamundayei Vichei. Chamundayei. Chamundayei is a beautiful aspect of the feminine, which nonetheless can be utterly destructive to a wide variety of negative forces and influences. Yei is a Shakti activating sound. Namaha has previously been discussed in detail. As with many mantras, the effects produced by saying this one vary according to the user. One woman reported that this mantra produced a feeling of joy so intense that she did not want to stop reciting it. Another person told me that it filled him with a sense of power. Please remember, if you recite the mantra for a long period of time during a single day or for many days and begin to feel any discomfort, stop your practice for a few hours or days and let your prana readjust to the new vibration level you are creating. Om Aim Hreem Kleem Chah-Moon-Dah-Yei Vichei. Where is it? Vee-Cheh. Vichei Namaha. Om Aim Hreem Kleem Chamundayei. Vichei Namaha. Yeah, just practice and play. And it reminds me of something that a teacher said. The pronunciation isn't as important as the intention. The intention is what holds the power. And but if we do know the correct way to pronounce it, that's great. Yeah. But it's more important is the intention and like that intention behind it. Yeah. It's the most important thing. And so and here's one more. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. The Siddha mantra uses the universal elements that govern each chakra: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The syllables Na-Ma, Shiva, and Ya help the chakras to better utilize the fundamental elements that predominate in the chakra. One who is a Siddha is a perfected being. This mantra leads you powerfully towards spiritual maturity. Thus, this mantra is from the tradition of the path of perfection of the divine vehicle, which refers to the human body in all its gross and subtle parts. So, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. So, Namah Shiva and Ya. The syllables Na-Ma, Shiva, Ya all correspond to earth, water, fire, air, and ether. How awesome is that? It's very cool. So all these like beautiful chants and qualities that they have associated with them, I'm very, very grateful for them. Very grateful for the practice. Very grateful to experience the powerful effects that they have and they have had in my life. Yeah, definitely. I've experienced and been blessed with a lot of miracles and choosing like this love for me. And it is like such a great way for me to remember and come back home to me, and yeah, remember what's true. Remember what's true. So I can be like all I am for all of me. So when I wrote the other day about all this, yeah, Ida and Pangala, Kundalini, pillars of light, dual currents, dual sides, dual nature, union of the two, the many faces of God and the goddess, compassion, true and full, the lovers, the reunion, the naming and the marrying. We name these dual temperaments in ourselves to marry ego to spirit, self-love and loving another. The lovers, the reunion, the naming and the marrying, the trinity, the dual nature, the divine self, the middle way, unity through duality, fire, water, ether, Hraum, Om, currency, love, wisdom, power, valuing and appreciating, recognizing our worth, remembering and knowing, honoring all we are. The two women who are one, separate but conjoined elements which combine in the psyche in 1,000 different ways. She has no face, but she has 1,000 faces. A woman has tremendous powers when the dual aspects of the psyche are consciously recognized and beheld as a unit, held together rather than apart. That is spiritual maturity. Sound and music, synchronicities, harmonic resonance, and coherence. How awesome, how perfect, how beautiful. All this love and truthfulness, the wandering and the beatitudes. Finding love in the underworld. So finding love in the underworld. So Neiah, personification of the source of all this reality, including Brahma, also and concurrently the threefold flame burning in the Hrit Padma. The seeming duality is intended to demonstrate that we may seem parted but are never really separated from God or the divine. So, Tatwam Asi, you are that which you seek. I am that, I am that, I am that, I am. Tatwam Asi, Tatwam Asi, you are that which you seek. May the energy of love encompass you completely. If we are healed in all ways, we inevitably arrive at a state of love. Thomas Ashley Farrand. And this was in the back of his book, at the end of the book, and it was about love. 1, love is based upon unity. To love something is to be a part of it in some way. 2, love involves understanding. We inevitably know something about the beloved. We inevitably know something about the beloved to love it, and the beloved reveals its secrets to the lover. 3, love is an expression of selflessness. The ego with its desires and petty concerns is subordinated to something else. Which reminds me, a couple weeks ago, I was reading in Women Who Roam with the Wolves about our homecoming and coming home, and when it's time for us to go home. Yeah. And it was all about kind of like that marriage of ego to spirit, and the soul, the spirit child, the soul child. Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that again. So during this time or this transformation or this transition, yeah, of going home, we don't kill the ego. We actually just give it another assignment, and that is to attend to the concerns of the soul. Yeah, rather than killing or firing the ego, we just give it a different assignment and we marry it to spirit. And then ego becomes assigned to the concerns of the soul rather than self-preservation and its false image. Yeah. So number 3, love is an expression of selflessness. 4, love is transcendental. Beyond human limits, love often evokes miracles that respond to the call of love alone. And love is the ultimate override frequency. It can override anything. Yeah. So, 5. In love, the means and the ends are one and the same. There is no way to achieve the condition or state of love other than by loving. 6. Love can be a gift from God. 7. Love means service. Love quickly moves from the realm of the expressible into the realm of the inexpressible. We soon run out of ways to express it, yet avenues of expression through service to others abound. 8. The search for love is the end of all meaning. If we lust after power, yet have no love, our search will be dry and our attainments hollow. 9. Love is our birthplace, our final refuge, and our reason for being. If we recognize that compassion and love are the ultimate destination of our search, the heart of the universe itself responds. Love is our birthplace, our final refuge, and our reason for being. If we recognize that compassion and love are the ultimate destination of our search, the heart of the universe itself responds. May you know within your heart, Aham Prima. That means I am divine love. Aham Prima. I am divine love. And that is by Healing Mantras. By Thomas Ashley Farrand. I super appreciate all that wisdom and all that beauty and all the love that's available. So impressions and expressions, hindsight and clarity, tunnel of love and pillar of light, self-confidence and clear inner sight, questions, answers, integration, and the answered call. Questions, answers, integration, the answered call, and the quest. More questions lead to new questions, the ongoing quest, hospitality. Cycling, recycling, and bicycling. Cycles, cyclic psyche developing and maturing, the spiral of ascent. Riches, worthiness, currency, value, gratitude, receptivity, appreciation, love, and generosity. Clarity and legitimacy, unity through duality. Ra, 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 ram, 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 Rama. Cosmic consciousness and radiance, brighter, lighter, wider ways of seeing, perceiving, being, cooperating in the world but not of it. The wandering and the fourth stage, transitioning, finding love in the underworld. Choosing joy, allowing all to move and pass through. Letting go of resistance and the illusion of control, surrendering, trusting, letting go. Self-mastery through embracing wholeheartedly the full. The full. Whole all, the true full wholeness of being one for all. The wellspring, I value the whole, truly and completely. I value all, I value all. I value all my experiences and discoveries. I value the journey, I value the path. I value the love I am, thou are, and we art. We are, thou art, and we are. I value the embodied soul. I value my power, love, wisdom, and innocence. I love and value all. I bless and value all. Just allow the wisdom to emerge and reveal itself. No need to describe or manipulate the message with ego agendas. Allow. Ask and ye shall receive. And have that faith and trust and grace. So thank you for allowing me self, to be all I am, all my love for all of me. All this love I get to be, all this love I am, right here, for me and we. And so be love for yourself, be well and be true, be all your love for all of you. All right, take good care of you, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye for now.